I think that we are constantly gamifying everything in life.
So, we are calling our first segment Hacked. What is Hacked? Again, you might ask. Great question. Hacked is an animated YouTube series from Sallie Mae that helps students navigate the crazy world of student finances, which can be really difficult and tough sometimes. So, we're going to break it down. And since going to college is expensive, we have a college guru here with us, a scholarship guru, whose name is Carlynn Greene. So, everybody, can we welcome Carlynn? Hey, Carlynn. Thanks for joining us today. Do you mind giving everybody a quick introduction about yourself?
Yes, of course. So, hi, my name is Carlynn. I'm otherwise known as the Scholarship Guru. So, over the years, I have personally won a lot of money in scholarships, six figures to be exact, between undergrad and graduate school, and have helped students since 2017 win millions and millions of dollars in scholarships across the globe. So, not only limited to here in the US, but also in different nations, different countries. And I'm also the author of The Scholarship Algorithm, which details my techniques step by step to winning scholarships, because this is a very strategic process. It's a lot of competition, right? So definitely consider checking that out. And I am just so glad and happy to be here to talk to you guys about financial aid and scholarships.
I am happy to have you here. I'm hoping I can write down some tips so I can win thousands of dollars too. But since I'm not a student anymore, I guess we'll focus on the students today. So, what we're going to do, Carlynn, is we are going to watch 2 episodes of Sallie Mae's Hacked, and then we're going to talk about it. So, let's go ahead and start with episode 1.
On a mission to pay for college? Though a daunting journey it may seem, the rewards at the end are well worth the challenge. There are 3 trials you must pass. The first of which is filling out the FAFSA. To apply for student financial aid, you must first navigate through the FAFSA form. The questions may seem countless, but they determine how much aid you qualify for. So what's the catch? Student aid is on a first-come, first-served basis, and there's plenty of applicants. So you better hurry. Keep an eye on the opening date and file as soon as possible to increase your chances of getting aid. It's easy to get started. Most of these questions are a breeze to fill. Others are more difficult to answer. But whenever you're asked about different types of aid, such as work study, always answer yes. You can always change your answers, and answering no could keep you from receiving aid you qualify for. Speed your way through intricate questions by bringing the right documents along with you. Each of these items will come in handy at some point. Filling out the FAFSA can be straightforward if you come prepared. Congratulations! You've hacked the FAFSA and acquired the maximum amount of aid you qualify for.
Super cool. I love those hacked videos because it makes me just remember being a kid and watching cartoons. But now, as you grow up, you have to start filling out things like the FAFSA. So I was wondering if we can start with breaking down the basics, and if you can let us know what the FAFSA is. And on top of it, is it a one-time application, or do students have to fill this out every year?
Yes, so, well, with the FAFSA, which stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, it's a form that helps determine if you're eligible for financial aid for your higher education. So, if you think you'll need financial aid each year that you attend college, then yes, you are highly recommended to fill out the new form each year. And after all, your economic situation may differ from year to year, so this will affect the amount of aid that you are given. And as an example of this, I personally was eligible for the Pell Grant after filling out the FAFSA for my freshman year of college. But then the following year, my dad got a significant raise at his job. And because of that, I was no longer eligible for that grant. So guys, even if you are not eligible for the FAFSA or you didn't get enough money from it, it is still possible to apply and win scholarships, which of course we'll be talking about later today. So yes, that's a bit about the FAFSA.
Okay, really good to know. So when I was applying to mine, sometimes I didn't do the best job with applying on time. So when is the deadline for the FAFSA? Can you kind of break that down as well?
So the real hack here is knowing that every state and even every college have different deadlines. There is also a separate deadline at the federal/national level. So make sure that you individually pay attention to and keep track of these variating deadlines. And I would also recommend to mainly focus on your school's deadline or the various schools in which you are applying to. And also, they may have separate due dates for a priority deadline versus regular deadline in terms of financial aid or even college admissions. And finally, if you can get your information in by the priority date, you may also be able to qualify for more aid from your school, such as in the form of scholarships.
Cool. Okay. So I know from personal experience when I applied, and when anybody applies, you might get back various different types of student financial aid that might be offered by your school. So how should a student respond to all the different types of offers that they receive?
Yes, well, first, let's break this down. Okay, so on your financial aid package offer, you may see scholarships such as from your school, federal grants such as the Pell Grant, grants from your state, work study, meaning the ability to work on campus and get paid, and finally, federal unsubsidized or subsidized loans. Now, I recommend that you go ahead and answer yes to everything. However, to wait a bit on those student loan offers, see if you are applying to, let's say, external scholarships and waiting on the results from those, and you end up winning enough to fund your education for that specific school year or over several school years, then you may just save up enough money to have your education paid off for, so you wouldn't really need to accept those loans and of course pay off their interest rates as well.
Okay, lots of great tips here. So again, dialing it back to when I was applying to my FAFSA, there's so much information they ask for, so many documents. So I'm wondering if for the students watching, what documents should they gather beforehand before they're filling out the FAFSA?
Yes, so as we saw earlier with the hacked video, the FAFSA requires information such as your social security number, banking statements, and so forth. However, it is also important to keep in mind that the FAFSA requires financial information from 2 years prior to the school year in which you will be enrolling for college. So since we are doing this College Con in the spring of 2023, if you were to enroll for fall 2023, it would require financial information like banking statements, W-2s, tax returns, and so forth from the year 2021.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you have any last tips for students watching about the FAFSA?
Yes, guys, I highly recommend that you all make sure to have your passwords and usernames saved somewhere easily accessible when you create your account on studentaid.gov, which is where you will fill out the FAFSA. Because see, I remember how every year my mom and I, we would forget and we would be locked out of the website. We would forget the username, the password, and all that. So please don't be like me. Stay organized and apply as soon as you can when it opens up.
Yes, same. I think I had a similar battle to face, so I definitely agree with that too. So before we move on to the second video from Hacked, we actually have a surprise celebrity guest who sent us a video to watch. I'm going to go ahead and ruin the surprise for everybody and tell you guys it's Troy Baker. Okay, one of my favorite actors. So Troy had some epic scenes and did the voice of Joel in the HBO show The Last of Us, if you guys are familiar. And Sallie may have the privilege to have him be the voice of the narrator and the professor in the Hacked video and series that we just watched. So let me play this video he sent us.
Hi, Dom. And man, do I wish that I could actually be there live with you as opposed to being in this rectangular thing, but I'm stuck in a hotel room. But I'm very glad that you guys let me be a part of this in any way. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Troy Baker, and I guess I kind of do sound like it. I got to be the narrator for the Hacked videos, and I also got to be the professor, which was also fun. Didn't expect that to happen, actually. It was a total goof. I didn't think they were gonna let me keep that in, but here we are. Look, as an actor, you want a job You want someone to hire you, and when they do, that's a win. And if there's an opportunity for there to be some good that comes out of that, and for it to actually be something that is beneficial beyond just the purposes of entertainment, then that's like a yay. That's where the rainbow, points to at the end, being a pot of gold. Bad metaphor. The point is that if I can be a part of or contribute to something that's going to help people and actually be a resource, then that to me is that's the ultimate. I love to just do things that make people smile and make people think or make people cry, if you've watched The Last of Us. But I also do love to do things that are ultimately going to help people and maybe point them in the right direction. It was not only informational for the people that were intended to see this video, it was also very informational for me. One of the things that I learned is the proper pronunciation of FAFSA. See, I can say it just fine now. Before, nope, FAFSA, man, still, see, my brain fights it. FAFSA, did it, no problem. See, no problem. Recorded it perfectly every time. Not once, always had to redo it. If you know me at all, you know that I love games. I like a lot. And I love being in games, I love playing games, I love making games, all of it. So for me, this was like right at home. And I think that we are constantly gamifying everything in life. Like everything that we do has some kind of point system or reward system, or points out the fact that life is full of challenges and we inherently love to overcome obstacles. We either like to read about people doing that or we like to do it ourselves. And so for me, this made perfect sense, putting this into kind of like a video game construct to kind of help make things smaller, because sometimes obstacles can feel too big. And when we break it down into, all right, here's the deal. This is a level, and there's going to be a boss battle at the end, and you're going to be able to overcome it, and then you're going to be able to level up. That makes sense to pretty much everybody, but especially to gamers. If I were to leave you with any words of wisdom, I would say this. The point of life is to find the obstacles, because then you get to find the solution to those problems. You get to find a way over those obstacles, and that's how we grow. So whether it be trying to find out how you're going to find the money to go to college or any other problem in life, understand that there is a solution. And sometimes it could be just like playing a game. I feel like I nailed this. What do you think, Dom? Pretty good? Thanks, guys.
Super good. Thank you to Troy for sending that video. And I would love if people in the chat could put some obstacles that they faced and how they found a solution to overcome it. And I challenge you guys for the next week to think about anything that you're battling, you're facing that's a challenge, how you can look at it as a solution and a learning opportunity. So I want to leave you guys with that. But let's get back to the scheduled programming and watch the next video of Hacked.
Your next trial awaits you. Don't settle for financial aid alone. Use your skills and interests to find the right scholarships for you. There are thousands of scholarships out there, but I'd wager there's some out there made just for you. Opportunities are everywhere, but be wary of passing deadlines on your journey. Forge your own way through the deadlines by making a schedule and sticking to it. Be on the lookout for local scholarships too. You see, local businesses and organizations often like to see their own emerge victorious. The Supreme Scholarship. Its value is high, but so is the competition. By collecting enough smaller scale scholarships, you can acquire the same amount of aid as that larger one. Congrats, player. You've hacked the scholarship search and built up the aid you require. Always remember, when it comes to searching for a scholarship, a little goes a long way.
Again, so much insights and advice in those videos, but I'm excited to hear from you personally. So I know you've won a ton of scholarships, but what has your experience been like winning these scholarships?
Yes, so I personally won 3 scholarships between undergrad and grad school, and about half I won as a high school student and the other half while in college. So, guys, make sure to continue applying even if you are already in college. See, I've had current students win 10 scholarships, 20 scholarships. There was even a girl, she won 47 scholarships, and as a result, many of which are being able to graduate debt free or have already graduated debt free. So, keep applying and also understand that. Rejection is a part of the process. Even though I won 30, I applied to a little over 100 scholarships. See, a lot of times success is possible. Success is not possible without failure along the way. However, when you do fail, take the time to learn from your mistakes and how you can improve with making your application stronger and so forth. And of course, I personally help people one-on-one with that process.
Yeah, I definitely agree about failure. I look at it as rejection is redirection. So if you guys receive a no, it's gonna be okay. It happened for a reason. So that was really, really good advice. I love it. And I know too in the episode, they mentioned how local scholarships are better than nationally competitive ones. How has your experience been with that? Can you give us some insight on what that meant?
Yes. For me personally, most of the scholarships that I won were local to my state of Texas or a specific region in my state. So I'm based in the North Texas, Dallas area. And also many scholarships I won were specific to my study concentration slash major, as well as my demographic and so forth. However, I also did win some nationally competitive scholarships, but again, those tend to be way more competitive. So that shouldn't be your primary focus. Of course, you can still apply to them, but that shouldn't be your main focus unless you really have like really strong stats. And also, even if you do not excel academically or athletically, there are various scholarships out there, such as for those who have a pet, who have a special talent like duck calling, you name it. And I even personally give out a scholarship for students in the past, I gave out a scholarship for students who like anime and animation. And I even have a scholarship out now for those who currently have existing student loan debt. So, guys, there's literally at least one scholarship opportunity out there for so many students. It's just like a matter of finding them and, of course, applying to them.
Yeah, great, great tips. And you mentioned too about stats. So would you say that it's more important with winning scholarships, to have really high achieving stats or have a really well written essay?
Yes, so I would say by far your essay is more important. See, many students may have strong stats such as a high class ranking, high GPA, test scores from the SAT, and so forth, but not many students know how to write and communicate overall effectively in a way that can convince people to give them free money. See, I literally had a student who was a valedictorian of his senior year of high school, and he wasn't offered any full ride scholarships. And you would think he would because he was first in his class, right? However, once he read my book, The Scholarship Algorithm, that I mentioned earlier, he was able to win $103,000 in scholarships during his sophomore year of college. So that gives you guys an example of why you can't just depend on your stats to get you the results that you want, and why I focus so much on strategy instead, such as even incorporating psychology to make an application stand out more.
Yeah, that's really, really great points. So, for the students who aren't as familiar with essay writing strategies or aren't the best writers per se, do you have any writing strategies you would recommend for students to use for their scholarship essays?
Yes, I have plenty, but of course we're limited with this video, so I'll give you a few pointers here and there. So I constantly try to steer students away from writing the trauma essay, meaning the essay that talks about really sensitive topics relating to their private life. Although some students may have although some students have been able to successfully get into college or win scholarships using an essay like that, that is by far not the only way to win. And for context, the very first scholarship I won, I did the trauma writing, but then after that, I was not comfortable whatsoever with writing that same story over and over again, especially to people who didn't really even know me, right? So the other 29 scholarships I won, there's essays that were required. I talked about something else, and as an example of this, I expressed my past, current, and future impact, which shows your reader consistency and builds trust that you will continue to do great things even if you are awarded that particular scholarship. And I also showed my trials to triumphs, meaning overcoming a challenge that wasn't necessarily centered around trauma, and gave a moment of reflection on how I grew from that, which shows vulnerability and self-awareness. Self-awareness. Gosh, I keep stumbling over my words here. So yeah, there are so many ways to go about your writing, and also keep in mind that many people who judge these applications may get desensitized or even overwhelmed by trauma essays. It's kind of like how when you watch the news, when you watch world news and you see too many sad stories, it can make you just want to turn off the TV, right? Because you want to tune out all that negativity. So the same thing can happen for scholarships or even college admissions essays. And I've heard from many people who evaluate college admissions applications that they dread having to read back-to-back sad essays. So if you can instead be a breath of fresh air with your writing, definitely consider doing that.
Yeah, I wish I could ask you questions all day. Like you have so much knowledge on those. But I think because we're running out of time, the last question I'm going to leave you with is if there's anything else that you think students should think about when applying to scholarships.
Yes, so it is important that you make sure to use reputable, verifiable sources to find scholarships to apply for. And for example, Sallie Mae has a fantastic scholarship search engine tool that I highly, highly recommend that you start using if you're not already using it. And also, some scholarships may not be legitimate and some signs to look out for as far as scholarships that are not legitimate include a scholarship should never ask for your banking information during the application process, and this can also extend to, in most cases, not mentioning your social security number. They shouldn't really ask for that. And then finally, a scholarship should have some sort of contact information, whether that's in the form of their phone number and or preferably their email address.
Okay. We are all equipped and ready to go earn some free money. We have no excuse after Carlynn's insights. So thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the time to share all your tips and tricks with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. You have a good day now. I'll see you later.
You too. Bye.
Awesome. So I believe after you learn anything, it's so important to review, to take notes, and to look back at what we learned, a little recap. So go ahead and grab your notebooks, your pen, or you Gen Zers, get out your laptops, your phones, and let's recap this segment. So first is that every state has different opening and closing dates for the FAFSA. I realized yesterday I pronounced it wrong too. So Troy is not alone. It's a really tough word to say, but you should find out which dates apply for your state. Also, next is to consider local scholarships over nationally competitive ones. Like the video mentioned and Carlynn mentioned, you might have more of a chance at getting lots of local scholarships instead of just the one big nationally competitive one. And then lastly, when it comes to winning scholarships, your essay will likely be more important than your stats. So really take a lot of time, think through your essays, have people check it for you, be meticulous about your essay process because it's not just about your stats.